Hi, I'm Vanessa, and this is my first episode of my cooking show. Today we are going to be talking about how to make the best Italian gravy. And yes, it is called gravy, not sauce, as some people might imply. Sauce is for ice cream. Gravy, New York Italians, is what they make on Sunday. They put up the Sunday gravy. It's a very, very good recipe. It's the basis of all your other recipes, so it better be the greatest you've ever made. Let's talk about your ingredients. You're going to need pasta. I make this gravy with rigatoni pasta. I happen to use the Cecco, great brand. Your tomatoes, very, very important. Always, always buy whole peeled tomatoes. Preferably San Marzano, because they're the best. I found, however, that store brands work just as well, and they're probably half the price. Nonetheless, the reason you use whole peeled tomatoes is because they only can put the best tomatoes in here. When they crush them, you won't see if there's defects on the tomatoes. So anyhow, whole peeled always. You could blend them, you could crush them yourself. Start with that. You'll need an onion, a whole elephant garlic, very easy to peel, so that's why I use elephant garlic. You will need olive oil, fresh basil, the best, pecorino romano cheese, no Parmesan, pecorino romano grated, and then salt, pepper, and crushed red. All right, you guys ready to start cooking? First thing we're going to do is start peeling our onion. We're then going to dice our onion. And I can't emphasize enough how important the size of the dicing is. We're not doing gourmet cooking where everything's chopped so thin you can't even see it. What we're going to do is make really, really coarse dices. And I'm going to show you a little bit of how that gets done. First things first, you take your skin off. Of course, you start with that. Doesn't taste real good in the gravy. So here we go. Let's get some of all of this off. And okay, here we go. Cut the onions. Cut it in two. If you take a look at this, I will show you how thick they need to be cut. And believe me, it changes the taste if you don't cut them the right way. So pretty thick dicing. I'm going to show you the same thing for the garlic in just about a minute. All right, here we go. And it's starting to smell good. What you can do while you're dicing is put up your water. Get that boiling. That way when you need it ready, it'll take you a second, you turn it right back on, and it'll boil in no time. All right. Makes it easy because it goes fast. Whole onion is diced. And I will show you the size of the dicing. Nice and big, where it'll change the taste of your gravy. Moving on to garlic, we have elephant garlic. The reason I like the elephant garlic is because of how easily it peels, and this just cuts your workload in half. Check this out. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. It's peeled. It's big. You can make nice big chunks out of it. Cuts your workload in half. Now, let me show you how thick I like to have these also. I like to dice these big chunks, and the reason I do that is it really, really makes a difference in the flavor of the gravy. Check out how big these are, and that will give you an idea of what you're looking to do. Nice big chunks. They almost look like lard, but they're not. The next step in this preparation is blending your tomatoes. You're going to blend them for probably 30 seconds. What happens is as you start blending them, they start to change color. They get a little more orange, which is ultimately the color of your gravy. Your gravy should not be red. If it's red, you failed miserably. You have to have a nice orange color, and you will see it'll change as it cooks. So right now what we're going to do is start blending them. Seconds a little too much. Let's say about 15-20 seconds, then give it a couple of just let it settle, blend it a few more times, and on to cooking. Alright, here we go. Let's start cooking. You're going to turn your heat on medium high for this. You're going to put approximately, I'm going to say about a cup, possibly a cup and a half of olive oil. That'll give it great taste. Here's a little tip for you guys. You will salt, pepper, and crushed red pepper. You'll add a little bit of that in your oil. And what I like to personally do throw in a few pieces of basil just to season the oil and get it a nice head start in flavor. And once you start that and get your oil nice and hot, and then we're going to throw in our onions just as soon as it's nice and hot. This is about when we're going to do this. You will take your onions and you will throw them in your oil, which is going to start cooking them right away. Mix them in so they're nice and covered with oil and flavor. You're going to let these cook until they're just about translucent. All right, so that process takes about 5 to 8 minutes for your onions to be just right. The whole house is starting to smell really good right now. And we're moving on to our next ingredient, garlic. And we'll throw that right in. And right away, you'll have people start coming around the kitchen trying to find out what's this good garlic smell and onion smell they have around the house. And you're going to cook this garlic and saute it just until it's fragrant. You don't want it to get brown or it'll turn acid. So keep it nice and just golden and fragrant. Right, so your garlic has been cooking for about 3-4 minutes. Everything smells great. You don't want it to brown, so you're going to keep stirring as you go. Occasionally you'll give it a little stir. And your next ingredient are your blended tomatoes. You're going to put those right in. And now you're going to have to work pretty quick just because of the temperature of the oil being hot and the tomatoes being cold. You're going to add approximately 1 cup of grated pecorino romano. And you're going to stir that in. And the reason you want this to be just at the right temperature is that so your cheese doesn't get all sticky. It'll heat up as your tomato heats also. So right now, you've blended that. You're going to want to salt and pepper to taste. If you like it a little bit spicier, you could add a dash of crushed red pepper. So here we go. Nice pepper, nice flavor. And one of the greatest ingredients, a lot of fresh basil. So I always tear it apart and add it to this delicious mixture. Stir everything. You could probably add a little more basil than that. If you like that taste. And who doesn't? Here it is. Let's give it a toss. Now you can reduce your flame to medium-low and let your gravy simmer. I'm going to say for approximately half an hour to 45 minutes. You'll know that your gravy is done when the oil comes back to the surface. So stir it occasionally. Don't let anything stick to the bottom of it. Season it to taste, and we will check on our next step and show you what it looks like when it's done. And as you go, watch the color change. It'll turn orangish. All right, we're about a half an hour into the cooking process. The gravy is looking beautiful. Check out the color. It's turning a little bit orange as we want it. If the oil hasn't risen to the top like it's just beginning to over here, you can add just a little drizzle of olive oil to it. And this is probably also a great time to check the seasoning of your gravy. See if you wanted a little more salt or pepper or a little more crushed red pepper, perhaps a little cheese if you like it. And I'm going to do that just now. Starting to taste good. I like a little pepper in there, so I will add some to it. Stir it a little bit more. And give it another 15 minutes, stirring it occasionally so nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot. And we'll check on it then. And ta-da, your gravy is ready. You could see the oil has surfaced, which means your gravy is done. Check out the color. It's got that orange tint to it. It looks delicious. All right, now that your water is boiling, you're going to add your pasta. Salt your water. And quick, when your pasta is in, give it a quick stir and put the lid right back on to get it back to a second boil. Don't leave the lid on once it's boiling again. Then you could remove it Time your pasta from this point on and make it al dente. Now that your pasta is cooked according to the package directions, strained and returned to the pot, I'm going to add a nice big pat of butter to it. Here's a little tip. In order to make it more appealing to the eye, you want to take some of your gravy and put a few scoops of it right on top of your pasta to not only make it not stick, but make it look nicer when you plate it and when you scoop it onto a dish. Check this out. It's turning into an orange-looking pasta. Looking good. And now it's time to eat. I've added some gravy to my pasta, which have a nice orange color to them. I like to serve my pasta with a fresh leaf basil. You could add some grated cheese to it if you care to. And most people will tell you that you're not supposed to have two starches. I love my bread with my pasta. Delicious. Pair that with a nice Chianti and enjoy your meal. Stay tuned for next week's recipe. Thank you.